I never have bad sessions in the gym anymore. I'm able to prevent bad sessions basically every single time with a very minor mindset shift that I've only recently really come to accept. And I'm going to share that mindset shift with you in this video, and your training will be revolutionized after, because you're going to think, damn, this guy's actually spitting, this guy's actually making sense. I never have a bad session because I focus on stimulus, generating a good stimulus, and not chasing progressive overload. I am not thirsty to add the extra rep. I'm not chasing more weight on the bar. Rather, I'm playing the long game, I'm being patient, and I'm just letting progressive overload happen automatically and naturally by providing a good stimulus to the target muscle every single time I train, with every single set on every single exercise. Let me dive into this a bit more. We are always told on Instagram and social media that progressive overload is the key to muscle growth. We must progressively overload. And yes, that is true. But the part that people miss off of that is that we should be progressively overloading in the long term, over the long picture. We always fail to zoom out and look at the long game. Rather, we're so focused on adding reps session to session that when we don't add a rep, we classify that as a bad session. And this is the first point of the video. Let's define a bad session. A bad session is when we're not able to add an extra rep or add a bit of weight. How many times have you gone into the gym, had a rep goal, you said, okay, last week I got 9 reps, this week I want to get 10 reps, and you got 9 reps, and you classed that as a bad session. You said, damn it, I didn't make any gains. I wasn't able to add an extra rep. I wasn't able to add a bit of weight. That was a bad set. That was a bad session. That's how we classify bad sessions. When we're not able to add an extra rep or an extra bit of weight, we view that as bad. What we need to do is stop being thirsty for progressive overload, and rather we need to zoom out, have a bit of patience, and play the long game, and realize that it's totally fine to repeat the same weights for a couple sessions in a row. And I made a whole entire video on why your lifts probably stall when you add weight. So I'm going to reference that, and you should definitely check that out. But just a quick reminder, it is totally fine to repeat the same weight for a couple sessions in a row. You must earn your progressive overload and not force it. And a lot of us are forcing it. And because we force it and we have such a big attachment to the logbook, and we're always told on social media, yes, chase more, do more than last week, 1 extra rep, a little bit of extra weight, more than last week, you must progressive overload. If you don't progressive overload, you don't make muscle. Because we're taught all these things and the logbook and everything else, we get so attached to adding an extra rep that when we don't, we classify that as a bad session. But I'm here to challenge that, and I'm here to say that the solution to never have a bad session is to not chase progressive overload and be thirsty for it, but rather chase a good stimulus in the here, in the now. Make sure that this next set you do gives and provides a good muscle building stimulus. Don't worry about what you done last week and what you should do this week. Just get a good stimulus for the target muscle this week, in the acute, in the short term, in the now, in the next set you're gonna do. Focus on just getting a good stimulus for that set. What does a good stimulus look like? 2 main things. Number 1, good technique. Are you using good technique? You could have somebody who's trying to grow their quads doing the low bar squat, or you could have somebody who's trying to grow their quads with a really deep hack squat. So when it comes to technique, are you using the best technique for the target muscle? If you're trying to grow your quads, a low bar squat in which you're using a lot of the posterior chain, you're using a lot of your hips, a lot of your glutes, and not that much quads, isn't going to be the best for your quad growth than if you were to do a hack squat. Similarly, when you are on your chosen exercise, are you using good form within that exercise? So let's say you've chosen the hack squat for quads. Are you actually getting low eccentric? Are you controlling the eccentric? Are all the reps the same? So that's the first half of creating a good stimulus. The second half, and more important half, is, are you close to failure? Simple as that. Are you close to failure? And this brings up a beautiful point about bodybuilding that is an absolute amazing feature of bodybuilding. And that is that you can, as long as you go to failure, You can use any weight and do any reps that you want. As long as you're close to failure, you're generating a muscle building stimulus. As long as you train hard, close to failure, you're telling your muscles, hey motherfuckers, let's grow, let's get bigger. And this is an absolute beautiful feature of hypertrophy training, you know, whatever we want to call it. Hypertrophy training, bodybuilding, physique training, they're all the same thing. They're all essentially the process of putting on more muscle mass on your frame, right? So whatever we call it, it doesn't matter. But the beauty of putting more muscle on your frame, you know, more muscle that you can literally see and touch, is that you can use any weight for any rep range. And so if you want to lift a little bit lighter and do sets of 12, as long as they're close to failure, you're going to grow. If you want to lift a little bit lighter than that and do sets of 15, as long as they're close to failure, you're going to grow. If you want to lift heavier and do sets of 7, as long as they're close to failure, you're going to grow. And so unlike a strength-based sport like powerlifting, in which in powerlifting, weight on the bar is everything. Weight on the bar is the end all and be all. That's what powerlifters do. That's how you win powerlifting competitions. It's all about who can lift the heaviest. Unlike powerlifting, muscle building doesn't care about how much weight you use. As long as you're close to failure with good technique, you're generating a good stimulus. That isn't true for powerlifting. If you're a powerlifter, the numbers are way more important to you. The logbook is way more important to you. If you go in on week 1 and you lift 100 kilos and then you come in on week 2 and you lift 90, you're regressing, bro. You're going backwards in progress. So for powerlifting and strength-based sports, number on the bar is everything. For us, bodybuilders, trying to build our physique, trying to build better muscles so we look better on the beach, trying to get abs, trying to attract some hoes, it doesn't matter what weight we use. Now, why am I saying this? You know, all this is to say what? All this is to put less importance on chasing the logbook and beating your numbers, and to put more importance on generating good stimulus. Because even if you don't beat your numbers from last week, or even if you match your numbers from last week, as long as the performance on this set today was with good technique and close to failure, which results in a good stimulus, you're good. You're fucking good. So even if you stick with the same weight for a couple sessions in a row, as long as each time that weight is hard and is close to failure and you're using good technique and you're not cheating yourself or cheating range of motion, eventually the progressive overload will come. All those sessions that you strung together of the same weight for the same reps, that built you muscle. That built you fucking muscle. And that's amazing, bro. That's all you want. And so the way I prevent bad sessions, and I'm about to give an example from my training, is the way I prevent bad sessions is I just focus on creating a good stimulus in the here and the now, and I detach myself from the pressure of adding one extra rep every single time, or adding a little bit of weight and progressive overload and chase progressive overload. I detach myself from that pressure and that sort of force that's being placed upon me from social media and Instagram. Let me give an example that beautifully illustrates this. I was doing dumbbell RDLs with 65 kilos in each hand for a set of 9. I'd done that 1 week, 9 reps. I come in the following week, and because I'm so thirsty for progressive overload, I'm telling myself I want 10 reps. I'm going to get 10 reps, right? I'm aiming for 10. I pick up the dumbbells, I do my set, and on the 6th rep, they slip out my hand. So I've placed them down, and just like that, I didn't get my 10. I got 6 fucking reps. And I'm pissed. I'm thinking, fuck, bro, fuck. Clearly I didn't build muscle. Clearly I didn't do something right. I'm doing something wrong. I didn't progressive overload. That was a bad session. That was a bad set. But then I thought a little bit. I thought, you know, I stood around. I wandered around awkwardly in the gym, and I thought, you know what? Let me give it another go. So I rested, went back to the dumbbells, picked them up, and I'd done a set of 8. 8 reps. More reps on my second set than my first, and only 1 rep shy from my previous week. Previous week we got 9. This week we got 6 and 8. On paper, that's a bad session, right? On paper, I didn't progressively overload, right? Because if I did progressively overload, then I would have got 10 reps. But let's break this down. Let's look at it. I had done 2 sets instead of my regular 1 that I had prescribed. Both of them were close enough to failure. And the second set was only 1 rep shy from last week's work while being a second set, while being already fatigued from the first set of 6. So although I didn't get the 10 reps I was after, there's no way we can say I didn't produce a good stimulus. There's no way we can say that was a waste of time. There's no way we can say I didn't generate what needed to be generated to build muscle. I did. I produced a good stimulus and I told my muscles, hey guys, let's grow. I gave them a good signal, a good reason to grow, despite the fact that I didn't get my 10th rep and instead ended up doing 2 sets, 1 of 6 and 1 of 8. That was still good. And so in a previous life, Omar would have looked at that and thought, yeah, that was a bad session. That didn't go to plan. But now I look at it and think, okay, I'm not chasing progressive overload anymore. I'm not thirsty for it. I'm just going to let it come naturally by way of training hard with good technique week after week. And yeah, today didn't go to plan. I didn't get my 10 reps, but I still created a good stimulus, and all the muscles involved in an RDL are still going to grow. They're still going to grow, right? My lower back, my hamstrings, my glutes, they're still going to grow. So I'm fucking good. And so the main point of this video, and this is how I prevent bad sessions every time, is I stopped caring about the logbook so much. I detach myself from the need to add an extra rep every single workout, which just isn't going to happen, bro. We're natural and we're normal human beings. We've got other life stresses that come up. Sleep might be off, etc. I detached myself from the need to progress every single workout and rather just focused on generating a good stimulus by using good technique and going close to failure. And if that so meant using a bit of lighter weight than last week, so be it. If that meant using the same weight as last week, but now getting 1 or 2 less reps, provided it was still to failure, so be it. You know, maybe I'm under recovered, maybe I didn't sleep well, maybe for whatever reason I got less reps. Doesn't matter the reason. If I got less reps, but good technique was there and I was to failure, that's a good muscle building stimulus. And so, fuck, my mouth is getting dry because I'm spitting heat. And so I prevent bad sessions by focusing on a good stimulus, not on the logbook. If this video was valuable to you in any way, hit me up for coaching down below if you want to learn more like this. And like I always say, like the video, subscribe. If I'm on your screen right now, then I've kept your interest somehow. That's all I have for today. Catch you in the next one, folks.